Can you solve all these hydrocarbons questions? Hydrocarbons cause. Nice work. You chose affects nervous system and it is correct. What is crude oil? Correct response. A mixture of hydrocarbons is the most accurate answer. Sources of hydrocarbons are. Well picked. All these is the correct answer. What are crude oil made of? You chose hydrocarbons, and it is correct. Petroleum is a complex mixture of. You got it? Your choice hydrocarbons is right. What elements make up hydrocarbons? Great job. Carbon and hydrogen is the accurate answer. What is a major use of hydrocarbons? Perfect. Fuel is the correct choice. Hydrocarbons that ends in N are dash. Good thinking. Alkene is the right answer. Hydrocarbons are compounds that contain. Bravo. Carbon and hydrogen is the answer. Triple bonded, unsaturated hydrocarbons. Exactly. Alkynes make sense and it is right choice. Hydrocarbons are fuels containing only. Clear logic. Your choice carbon and hydrogen is sound and 100% true. Cracking large hydrocarbons releases dash. Right again. Alkanes and alkenes is a valid answer. All side branches are referred to as dash. Strong choice. Substituents is the right answer. The second name of aromatic hydrocarbons. Smart move. Evolved is an accurate answer. These are hydrocarbons with single bonds. Well reasoned. Alkane is the correct choice. Hydrocarbons with double bonds are called. Sharp thinking. Alkyne is the right choice. What is another name for carbon compounds? You're right. Organic compounds is the correct answer. Is the name of triple bonded hydrocarbons. Well done. Alkynes is the right choice. What elements are present in hydrocarbons? Correct. Carbon and hydrogen only is the right answer. In hydrocarbons, carbon atoms are joined by. Nice selection. All is the correct and valid answer. Saturated hydrocarbons are also called dash. Solid response. Alkanes is a valid choice. Which one is not a property of hydrocarbons? Right choice. Color is the best answer. Which among these hydrocarbons is saturated? On track. Alkane is the correct answer. Compounds that contain carbon are called dash. Good job. Your answer organic works well here. Which of the following contains hydrocarbons? Great thinking. All of these is the right choice. What are the two kinds of cyclic hydrocarbons? Valid point. Alicyclic and aromatic is true. Which among these hydrocarbons is tetrahedral? Nicely done. Alkane is a solid answer. What type of bonding is found in hydrocarbons? Smart pick. Covalent is the correct choice. What is the hydrocarbons that are double bond? Excellent choice. Alkene is the right answer. What determines the properties of hydrocarbons? Excellent. Molecular structure is a brilliant choice. Which among these hydrocarbons is triple bonded? Solid response. Alkyne is a valid choice. What is the main natural source of hydrocarbons? Well reasoned. Crude oil is the correct choice. What is the chemical composition of hydrocarbons? Well picked. Hydrogen and carbon atoms is the correct answer. Which compound is made up of carbons and hydrogen? Excellent choice. Hydrocarbons is the right answer. Which of the following are saturated hydrocarbons? Smart move. Alkanes is an accurate answer. Dash are doubled bonded, unsaturated hydrocarbons. Smart pick. Alkenes is the correct choice. Which hydrocarbons is a liquid at room conditions? Nice work. You chose C1634 and it is correct. What is the suffix for single bonded hydrocarbons? Excellent. Ane is a brilliant choice. What organisms are the source of most hydrocarbons? Good thinking. Diatoms and foraminifera is the right answer. Name a use of hydrocarbons that come from crude oil. Valid point. All of the above is true. What is the flammability of long-chain hydrocarbons? Right again. Less flammable is a valid answer. What are the products of a photochemical smog called? Clear logic. Your choice gross photochemical oxidants is sound and 100% true. What is the boiling point of short-chain hydrocarbons? You got it. Your choice low boiling point is right. What do we call the separated substances in crude oil? Bravo! Fractions is the answer. Hydrocarbons with double or triple bonds are said to be. Correct. Unsaturated is the right answer. What is the general formula for saturated hydrocarbons? Right choice. Sen plus 2 is the best answer. Hydrocarbons are compounds that contain these elements. Perfect. Carbon and hydrogen is the correct choice. Dash and dash are the types of unsaturated hydrocarbons. You chose alkenes, alkynes, and it is correct. Is the name of doubled bonded unsaturated hydrocarbons. Correct response. Alkenes is the most accurate answer. Which of the following hydrocarbons is easy to dissolve? Strong choice. Saturated is the right answer. Dash are hydrocarbons that contain double covalent bonds. Nicely done. Alkenes is a solid answer. Hydrocarbons with only single covalent bonds are known as. Nice selection. Alkanes is the correct and valid answer. Complete oxidation of hydrocarbons produces these products. Sharp thinking. H2 and CO2 is the right choice. Alkenes usually go through addition reactions because dash. Exactly. They have double bonds makes sense, and it is right choice. Hydrocarbons react to produce secondary air pollutants like. Great job! Both is the accurate answer. Which of these hydrocarbons would react with Brahmin water? On track. Ethene is the correct answer. The MP and BP increases as the molecular structure increases. Well done. Hydrocarbons is the right choice. In hydrocarbons, carbon atoms are joined to hydrogen atoms by. Good job. Your answer single bond works well here. What name is given to the first group of cyclic hydrocarbons? You're right. Cycloalkanes is the correct answer. Compounds which only contain carbon and hydrogen are termed as. Great thinking. Hydrocarbons is the right choice. For hydrocarbons, dash chains have the highest boiling points. Good thinking. Long with branches is the right answer. What is the ending for hydrocarbons with only CC single bonds? Valid point. Ane is true. The compounds which contain only hydrogen and carbon are called. Right choice. Hydrocarbons is the best answer. What is the general formula for hydrocarbons with single bonds? Clear logic. Your choice CN plus 2 is sound and 100% true. Which of the following is not a classification for hydrocarbons? Bravo! Supersaturated is the answer. Which of the following aliphatic hydrocarbons has a triple bond? Exactly. Acetylene makes sense, and it is right choice. What is the catalyst used in catalytic cracking of hydrocarbons? Well done. Aluminium oxide is the right choice. The family of hydrocarbons which contain a triple bond are called. Excellent. Alkynes is a brilliant choice. The branch of hydrocarbons that form multi-sided rings are called. On track. Cycloalkanes is the correct answer. Hydrocarbons in crude oil can be separated by a process called dash. Excellent choice. Fractional distillation is the right answer. In the following fractions, which contains the longest hydrocarbons? Up. Correct response. Heavy fuel oil is the most accurate answer. The main intermolecular force of attraction between hydrocarbons is. Nice work. You chose dispersion forces, and it is correct. These are organic compounds that are composed of carbon and hydrogen. Well reasoned. Hydrocarbons is the correct choice. Which property of hydrocarbons influences how they are used as fuels? Correct. Boiling point is the right answer. A common liquid hydrocarbons that are used as components of gasoline. Nice selection. Octane and pentene is the correct and valid answer. Unsaturated hydrocarbons must contain at least one dash or dash bond. Great job. Double or triple is the accurate answer. Which series of hydrocarbons contains a carbon-to-carbon double bond? Right again. Alkenes is a valid answer. Hydrocarbons burning is an example of what type of chemical reaction? Smart pick. Exothermic is the correct choice. Which property of hydrocarbons depends on the size of their molecules? Perfect. Boiling point is the correct choice. What is the primary byproduct of incomplete combustion of hydrocarbons? What? You got it. Your choice, carbon monoxide and water, is right. What compounds are produced in the complete combustion of hydrocarbons? Great thinking. Carbon dioxide and water is the right choice. What type of bond is formed between carbon and hydrogen in hydrocarbons? Good job. Your answer's single covalent bond works well here. They are unsaturated hydrocarbons and contains one or more double bonds. Sharp thinking. Alkene is the right choice. Which of the following is the typical reaction of aromatic hydrocarbons? Solid response. Electrophilic aromatic substitution is a valid choice. It is an unsaturated hydrocarbons with triple bonds between carbon atoms. Strong choice. Alkyne is the right answer. Identify the homologous series of hydrocarbons to which CH3She2 belongs. Smart move. Alkenes is an accurate answer.
These hydrocarbons are used for welding and in manufacturing garden hoses.
Well picked. Alkyne is the correct answer. Which family of hydrocarbons includes methane, ethane, propane, and butane? You chose alkanes, and it is correct. Buna rubber is prepared by polymerizing which of the following hydrocarbons? You're right. Buta-1,3-dene is the correct answer. Which hydrocarbon will produce only one layer when mixed concentrated 2SO4? Nicely done. Unsaturated hydrocarbons is a solid answer. Which of the following hydrocarbons has a double bond in its carbon skeleton? Nice work. You chose SEEC4 and it is correct. Which type of hydrocarbons have the highest reactivity with other substances? Great job. Alkynes is the accurate answer. During fractional distillation, hydrocarbons are separated according to their. Well done. Boiling points is the right choice. Hydrocarbons, where all carbon atoms are linked by single bonds, are called dash. Correct. Saturated is the right answer. How many bonds are there between the carbon atoms in unsaturated hydrocarbons? Great thinking. 2 or 3 is the right choice. In cyclic hydrocarbons, each carbon atom is surrounded by dash covalent bonds. Sharp thinking. 4 is the right choice. Which of these is not directly involved in the formation of photochemical smag? Smart pick. Chlorofluorocarbons or CEFs is the correct choice. Compounds that contain dash and dash as the main element are called hydrocarbons. Correct response. Carbon, hydrogen is the most accurate answer.
Alkenes are a homologous series of hydrocarbons that contain a dash double bond.
Nicely done. Carbon-carbon is a solid answer. Petroleum or crude oil contains hydrocarbons of 1 up to how many carbon atoms? You chose 40, and it is correct. Which of the following aromatic hydrocarbons used in making color designs in fabrics? On track. Anthracene is the correct answer. Dash is the name of hydrocarbons that contain 1 or more carbon-carbon triple bonds. Right choice. Alkynes is the best answer. Aliphatic hydrocarbons consist only single bonds, and so are called dash hydrocarbons. Clear logic. Your choice saturated is sound and 100% true. What is the name of the hydrocarbons that has 3 carbons and 8 hydrogens in single bond? Well reasoned. Propane is the correct choice. What process is used to separate crude oil in hydrocarbons with different chain lengths? Smart move. Fractional distillation is an accurate answer. Hydrocarbons, the simplest family of carbon compounds, are made from these 2 elements. Nice selection. Hydrogen and carbon is the correct and valid answer. What is the name of the process to convert larger hydrocarbons into smaller hydrocarbons? Excellent choice. Cracking is the right answer. Hydrocarbons that contain only single covalent bonds between carbon atoms are called. Strong choice. Alkanes is the right answer. Hydrocarbons that contain only single bonds are also classified as saturated hydrocarbons. Solid response. Alkane is a valid choice. Which of the following hydrocarbons would definitely quickly decolorize bromine solution? You're right. C24 is the correct answer. Which of the following characteristic is common for the hydrocarbons found in natural gas? Valid point. Low molar mass is true. The process of separating the different length hydrocarbons from crude oil is known as dash. You got it. Your choice fractional distillation is right. Which hydrocarbon produces a brown precipitate, MnO2, when mixed with potassium permanganate? Right again. Unsaturated hydrocarbons is a valid answer. What is a family of compounds with the same general formula and similar chemical properties? Well picked. Homologous series is the correct answer. What type of hydrocarbons are broken down into smaller molecules during the cracking process? Bravo! Long-chain hydrocarbons is the answer. Which of the following is a toxic gas released when hydrocarbons undergo incomplete combustion? Exactly. Carbon monoxide makes sense, and it is right choice. Hydrocarbons with shorter carbon chains are more flammable. What does this make them useful for? Perfect. Fuels is the correct choice. According to the rule, like dissolves like, what type of solutions would hydrocarbons be soluble in? Excellent. Nonpolar organic solutions is a brilliant choice. Unsaturated hydrocarbons that contain at least one triple bond between the carbon atoms are called dash. Good thinking. Alkynes is the right answer. What is the term which describes the organic compound that is made of hydrogen and carbon elements only? Or? Good job. Your answer, hydrocarbons, works well here. Which general formula represents the homologous series of hydrocarbons that includes the compound 1-heptene? Exactly. Cysteine SN2 makes sense, and it is right choice. What is the effect of increasing the chain length of hydrocarbons on the solubility in nonpolar organic solutions? Well picked. Solubility increases is the correct answer. What is the process called when longer, less useful hydrocarbons are broken down into shorter, more flammable hydrocarbons? Great thinking. Cracking is the right choice. Where do long-chain hydrocarbons collect? Bravo. At the bottom is the answer. Which 2 of the following molecules are hydrocarbons? Well reasoned. Methane and butene is the correct choice. Dash are compounds that contain only carbon and hydrogen. You got it? Your choice, hydrocarbons, is right.
Which of these hydrocarbons have the shortest chain length?
Great job. Methane is the accurate answer. Compounds made only of carbon and hydrogen atoms are called dash. Correct response. Hydrocarbons is the most accurate answer. Which compound is a member of the alkene series of hydrocarbons? Smart pick. Propene is the correct choice. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Smart move. Contact Narayan Changda is an accurate answer.